Hello, my name's Ian Spiller. I'm the local community councillor for Broadlands, Lallaston and Bryn Tirion. I'm here today with Joanne Rubery, currently looking at the A48 and the start of the campaign to really make the A48 safe for once and for all. We're here today by the entrance to Newbridge Fields, where the cycle path impromptu cuts off and you're left having to cross the road at this point with absolutely no safe crossing to get to the other side of the A48. Joe, it's been nearly 6 years since obviously tragedy struck here in 2016. For yourself and for the family, may I ask, how do you feel about the lack of road safety here at on the A48?
It just makes you wonder, to be honest, when another accident is going to happen and when another family is going to go through what we've gone through. Not just a family, a community, wider community. You know, this is an area. It's not just about the immediate Broadlands area. It's about the whole of the South Wales area. This is a beauty spot that people come to further afield, just down there. That Rhys wasn't from here. We were from Pencoed. His friends are from Canharan. Everybody travels there. I just hear things on the news about an accident over 48, and I just think something else is going to happen. Something's going to go through the tragedy that we've been through.
And I mean, when you look at the report that was commissioned by Bridgend Council as part of our original campaign to make this road safe, they surveyed the road, they looked for children crossing this road, and they did that in November and December between the hours of 12 o'clock and 2:30 when the children were in school. So it's fair to say that the original survey was fundamentally flawed. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you feel the local authority have acted? Because Bridgend Council have been, you know, they are the people responsible for maintaining this highway, for the safe, active travel routes. We were talking on the way up about the wonderful cycle paths that they've put across roundabouts, yet this particular cycle path, which takes you from Broadlands right the way through to Bryn Tirion School, is just left uncompleted in this state. What are your feelings about how the local authority have acted?
It's frustrating, very frustrating. It makes me angry. There just appears to be little bits of roadworks appearing, as you said, that we know of from here through to Canharan, but nothing here. Why? That's the question.
It is.
And I just want the answers as to why it hasn't been done. Why it hasn't been completed.
I think from both of our points of view, in 2018, we thought BCBC were awarded a further £280,000 to enhance what we thought was going to be enhanced footway. And instead of fixing this, they built a safe walking route to McDonald's from Bryn Tirion. How does that make you feel?
The words, to be honest, the words don't come out. The emotion is there. Nobody, unless you've been through what we've been through, you can't actually describe the pain, the anger, the frustration. And I can wonder back to why. What was the reasons why it hasn't been completed? What has the money been spent on? Well, McDonald's.
Well, it was more or less a misappropriation of funds. I mean, you know, you've got this money here to do this work. It was very much needed and identified, and it just, you know, it makes me angry. And obviously, I don't have to live with what you've lived through. And for me personally, I feel that we, as in the local authority, we've let you down. And I get accused sometimes of politicising the point, but this is a very, very political point. we're going into local elections in Bridgend. It's Bridgend Council that will do this work. They can apply for funding from Welsh Government, but let's make no means. Mark Drakeford stood up in Pencoed, where you're from, literally last week or the week before, and said a Welsh Labour Council working with a Welsh Labour Government gets things done in Wales. 6 years, still nothing done. So we've just taken a small break in recording just to walk down to Newbridge Fields and show you one of the mooted safe passes that people discuss when talking about road safety here, and it's a non-starter. The reason we say this is up there where we were filming a moment ago, that is one of the main exits out of Newbridge Fields onto the A48. Anybody from Broadlands is not going to walk down here to use this underpass. But this is the underpass, and you can see here, Joe and I will take a walk through, but you can already see the maximum headroom on the bridge of 6 foot. So luckily for me, I'm quite vertically challenged. And I think Joe's going to be okay as well. So we're not going to have to worry about our heads too much. But you can see here the flooring, it's not ideal at all. It's the old cobbled floor. And the reason for that is this was actually made for cattle. It wasn't made for human beings. There's no electrics down here. And you can see, you know, even with my lovely stature in height, that, you know, really and truly, I'm feeling like I have to duck. I don't know about you. Yeah. I mean, the floor itself, entirely unsuitable for a safe crossing, not lit in the day, but actually, having seen some of the correspondence with regards to this route, this, Joe, isn't even BCBC owned. This is permissive. It's not a public right of way.
Right, okay.
So for yourself, does this feel like a solution?
No. I mean, why this wasn't looked at in the November, December, I don't know, because that would have been flooded anyway.
It would have been flooded.
It would have been flooded during that time when the survey was actually done. It's not pleasant. I would not want my children walking through there at any time of the day. You know, it's used for other purposes that you know.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, but also, even if it was the most perfect underpass, where is the signage when you're coming from Merthyr Mawr to come here?
Well, there isn't any, because actually Merthyr Mawr is all the way up there. That's where the Merthyr Mawr road crossing is, which is where Reese lost his life. There is no, you know, you're down here, we're going down this way towards the Dipping Bridge at this point. So actually anybody that's coming from Newbridge Fields going towards the Dipping Bridge from here, this would actually work. But for anybody coming from Broadlands, or from anybody coming from the Island Farm direction, this is just, you know.
If you don't know the area, you wouldn't even know it was here.
Yeah, and you wouldn't. And a lot of people come down to use this area, you know. Merthyr Mawr, I remember moving, when I moved to the area, going down and experiencing it for the first time, the beauty that is down there. And I mean, I've got young children myself, that go down and take the walks and go and enjoy the time there with their friends. And ultimately, we want to be promoting that safe access to countryside. Yeah. You know, that's what active travel, that's what all the funding is there to do.
That's what any of us want for our children. We want them out, we want them to enjoy the outdoors. We live in a beautiful part of the world, but we can't actually get to it safely. We
can't, and I mean, that's just nonsensical. So we're taking a walk here on the footpath, and I use the term very, very loosely when I say footpath. I mean, this is April, and you know, if you see the state of this, you know, there's trip hazards pretty much everywhere because you're in the countryside. And thinking about, you know, people with pushchairs, thinking about people with wheelchairs, anybody trying to access this area, this is not anywhere that would be considered a safe crossing or a safe route to Merthyr Mawr. Now, when you actually then get to the end of this and you look at the pathway that is coming down, you'll see down the A48, you've got double width pavements. you've got the option really to look at safe routes, safe access in many different places. It would require Bridgend Borough Council to do some compulsory purchasing. They have the power to do that. You know, let's be very clear. These local issues are what we should be fighting local elections for, because otherwise we may as well just talk about the policies of Cardiff and Westminster and not even bother to elect local representatives for Bridgend. Bridgend is where I live, and I live in this area, I work for this area, and you know, this to me is making sure that we focus on key areas where we can make a difference in the lives of the people that we represent. So behind me in the background here, you can see the Dipping Bridge, very popular in the summer. A little bit too cold probably for most of the kids today. We're just warming up, probably about 20 degrees, which is lovely for a bank holiday weekend. But not obviously seeing the same amount of people that we would July, August, obviously going into September, where really the weather is right. Looking at the pathway here, this is the main access coming down rather than the field. Actually, you know, there is potential here to do something and to look at a safer route here. But actually, when you come across, you'll see, if I just pan around, you'll see you've got path behind you. That's going on to Newbridge Fields. You've got then the double paths right the way up the A48. And really, rather than taking the massive detour that we've just taken underneath into the subway, anybody that's coming across this road, Joe, they're not going to go that way, are they?
It's just absurd why 4 public rights of way and there's not an access to it.
Well, we've come from Broadlands down in that direction. We came from the path by Pandy Farm, and actually there's a crossing there and a footpath that goes from one side to the other. We've got another public footpath sign up here. You can see the one on the other side of the road. So already, in fact, I'm not going to film the people crossing the road down there with their dog, but you know, the road isn't that busy today. And actually, you know, there's many times we'll see groups of children either at this point or this point down here trying to cross the roads, heading across. Let's remember there's 2,300 houses in Broadlands. That's a huge amount of people to be crossing those roads. So we're currently stood at the top of the subway on the A48. On the southern side, you can see we have the luxury of pavement still on this side. We pan over to the other side, no pavement, but you can see the bridge. Actually, the roads are getting a little bit busier. But we just stopped at this point because you can see here down onto the subway, there is no access to this subway without walking down to there, and you'll see the 50-mile-an-hour sign, which is where we've just appeared from. At this point, somebody, as you can see, they've obviously tried to make a makeshift path to get down onto this area. Now, you know, the reality is you've got to walk a hell of a way from Island Farm and Merthyr Mawr to come down to this point to even get a safe crossing. I mean, from your point of view, you know, do you think something could be done quite easily here, Joe?
I'm no construction expert, but I think given the day and the technology we live in, I can't see why not. Some steps going down.
There's some steps going down and a bit of access there, but at least encourage somebody to use the facility that we've already got. And surely that could be done fairly cheaply. I mean, let's remember, Bridgend County Borough Council was given £100,000 to do the initial work. That included the survey report, taking the vegetation away at the bottom Broadlands roundabout, and I believe doing some additional signage as well, if I'm right.
Well, the signage that went up just says
people crossing.
That's as far as I can see anything's happened.
No, I'm inclined to agree. We'll take a walk up to the junction, just have a little look at the area that we're talking about. Okay, so we've just walked up a few steps further up the road, and one of the things that you can see behind me is what some of this money was spent on. And that is this great big sign, pedestrians crossing at this point. is actually the point on the A48 where the most accidents, and obviously the tragic accidents, have happened. And let's be reminded, this hasn't just happened once. 2 young men lost their life pretty much at exactly the same point over a period of a few decades. And the enormity of that, it really cannot be lost. Bridgend Borough Council, they've put in their local development plans. Those local development plans are something we're talking about ahead of the local election. And the reason for that is just over here, you've got Island Farm. Island Farm, obviously very well known, local tourist spot. There's 850 houses planned for this area. But we go down the road to the bottom Broadlands roundabout, there's a further 110 houses planned for Craig Parkeye. Just in this area alone, nearly 1,000 more houses. Now, any contingency measures to improve road safety in this area, Bridgend Borough Council are linking to more and more housing. To me, that's unacceptable. How about to you, Jo?
I can't fathom it. You just can't understand why this isn't an immediate concern.
Well, we seem to be able to find money, don't we, for vanity projects?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and things really that don't have the pressing need that. Well, in my view, they don't have the pressing need. I, for the life of me, do not understand why we need to build cycle paths at the Elm roundabout. You know, for me, that money would be far better spent here, making these junctions safe for all users. You know, it's not just the users of the pavements and the paths, not just the pedestrians, but for road users as well. Because let's remember, you know, everybody that uses this road is affected by the tragedies that entail on here. You know, over the last year, I've seen a car upside down on the Broadlands roundabout. You know, they've cut the speed to 50. You know, unfortunately, you know, braking distances, I mean, we were talking about crossing the road, you know, for us. Sometimes you just don't appreciate how fast the cars are coming, do you? Do you know, if I could have got my camera on quick enough then, you would have seen the really interesting manoeuvre. I'm not going to put the car's number plate in. The really interesting manoeuvre the car just made. Doing a quick circle and turning right out of Merthyr Mawr Road up there, which is obviously one of the things that this campaign is talking about. Now, the reason we're saying no right turn is, quite frankly, something needs to be done at this junction. I don't think anybody is adverse to putting a roundabout in or controlling this crossing so people can actually use this junction, and it is a staggered junction, which makes it a lot more difficult to do. But the key measure for us is to try and make this junction as safe as possible. One of the things that the money was spent on was in improved signage. So just want to take you to this junction, right? And one of the things, bear in mind, this junction here is no right turn. So somebody gets to the end of this junction, and if I just move my hand out the way, you'll see, as you're looking around, there's absolutely no signs opposite there to tell you can't turn right. Now actually, if I walk up Merthyr Mawr Road a little bit, and I'm going to take you to where these signs have actually been put, and you can see they're quite far back from the actual junction itself, but you'll then see the no right turn signs behind me. Now, try not to get myself run over. One of the key things for us is about improving the road safety element here, because this is a rural road, so this section here, obviously pulling out onto the main A48, for us is absolutely crucial. Because obviously, bear in mind, there's no paths over the other side. This is going to be a pinch point with people walking down to Merthyr Mawr, to the sand dunes, coming down from the A48. And for us, actually not having this sign, not having this visible at the road junction, and you can see as I'm moving forward now, you know, there is absolutely nothing here to suggest that you cannot turn right. There's also huge amounts of area to put in that safe path. Actually, if you look down the road, and we'll look all the way down, you can see the areas where safe paths could be put in, and we were expecting these safe paths to be put in 2018. Up here, you're looking at the other staggered junction with Merthyr Mawr Road heading into Bridgend. This point here is obviously the point where Rees was killed in 2016. And this for us is absolutely crucial, that whether you're looking at the Merthyr Mawr Road junction, which obviously is, you've got a huge amount of people travelling to Merthyr Mawr and the Dipping Bridge from there, or whether you're talking at the Broadlands access down there has to be safe crossings and a safe route into the countryside. We've stopped our journey on the A48 at this point. Taking Joanne further up the road was something I didn't want to do. The rawness and the emotion that obviously her and the family still have, understandably, is just too much. And this isn't about exploiting the family. This is about really highlighting this issue. And Joe and the family have been very, very explicit that they want this crossing sorted. They want the A48 made safe. Local elections are for local issues. They're not for national politics. The Labour Party want to talk about national politics. This is not a national election. This is a local election, and as such, we must focus on local issues. Whoever gets into power, whatever the administration looks like on May the 6th, my plea to you, if it's not me, my plea to you is make the A48 safe. Do not make this family suffer again. I don't know if you can see a little bit further down. These are the junctions that we've just walked by. You can see families there crossing from Pandy Farm, which is where we just came out, trying to cross already. And you can see the time, actually. They've been standing there for a little while because I was wondering whether I was going to get them by the time I actually got my phone into the right place. But you can see people genuinely cross on these points right the way across the A48. They've been lucky. There's a quiet time. You can see a small child there with a dog just walking down to go and enjoy the countryside. This is why this is why. Okay, so we're down by Pandy Farm. This is right by the Broadlands junction. So you've got two real routes from Broadlands. One is at the roundabout down there. The other is this way out from Craiger Parkeye Woods, which is obviously a very popular walking area, and we've seen many people as we've been standing and walking up the road crossing at this point. And down here you can see the footpath that will take you down Craiger Parkeye and the old properties down there. Now, this is where they're proposing to build a further 110 houses. So they'll come off of the bottom Broadlands roundabout. You can see the port there on the left-hand side, which is shown, but at the moment that leads to the derelict property. And that will sit within the confines of the property boundaries just here. Now, one of the things that was talked about, obviously, when you had the many meetings that you had with Bridgend Council over safe crossings and over the speed limits, was to put bridges, safe walking crosses, which really on this road need to be bridges, to obviously enable people to have safe access from one side to the other. Joe, what was said to you about those bridges?
Oh, several reasons why we put the bridge. One was because of the width of the road, there was enough space. Another was because there were dormers placed in.
Okay.
And obviously they take priority, and I questioned who's actually monitored how many dormice cross the road in a day.
Did you get a sensible answer to that? No. So obviously one of the key things which was pointed out is any access onto bridges has to be all-inclusive access, so it needs to have access to wheelchairs. And the argument is there's not enough space on this path to build a bridge which will enable you to have the platform to get a wheelchair on.
So it's told.
Yeah. Okay, so if we have a little look over the other side, let's just remember they're building 110 houses. That's the plan. 110 houses in that field just over there. I think it's fair to say that if they can find space for 110 houses, they can find space for a footbridge. Just behind us here, Joe, and we're actually going to take this path. So if we just walk on up this path to Pandy Farm. Pandy Farm is just in front of me as we're talking. And actually this area of land here takes you over to the church at the end of Celestial Way in Broadlands, which is off of Mice of Edwin. And actually all of this land here is still undeveloped. And not that we want it to be developed, of course, but you've got the opportunity here. And actually if you have a little look, you can see the area of land that I'm talking about. This is a permissive path nowadays. The owners have put that there. But actually you've got more than enough space to take a section out there to put a platform this side as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely nonsensical. You've got this point here, there's absolutely land to build a bridge and to put a safe platform so disabled users can use it for wheelchair access. Of course, remembering, people with buggies, children with bikes, because we've seen quite a few people going on bike rides today. And if you go up to the Island Farm junction or by Merthyr Road, you can certainly see that there is space there to be able to do this as well. So this is down to choices. This is down to people not willing to engage. If you look for all the reasons why you can't do something, you will always give yourself a reason why you can't do it. This is about looking at it from a different way. The A48 has to be made safe, and we need these safe crossings. It needs to be there for our community to have access to the wider countryside. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ian.
Please make the A48 safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.